I'm Derek with Principal Industries. I'm the VP of Engineering, and today we are excited to show you our brand new architectural downlight product, the IllumiWrap.
And my name is Jordan. I'm the Customer Service Supervisor here at Principal Industries, and I'll be going over the ordering process of IllumiWrap, and also show you some functionality and where you can find the information needed to buy. The IllumiWrap is a product that highlights the architectural details of any building. It also provides a well-lit, inviting environment for potential customers to feel safe. What is the survey form and how does that function in this process? The survey form gives us really key information such as the distributor you would like to work with, the finished aluminum that needs to be included with your project, and the length and measurements that the building is going to be applied to. Once all of that key information is included, including the ship to address, we will then have that sent to our layout team to generate a layout. Our internal team will take that information from the survey form and they will populate that layout and send it over for approval. When that approval is processed and accepted, we'll make sure and do a quote internally that will then be sent to your distributor. From there, your distributor will be able to get you a price on your aluminum.
Next, we're going to go over some of the more commonplace questions and problems that you may run into when installing IllumiWrap in the field. This could be anywhere from knowing how to use the gasket when you're trying to create a watertight seal on a parapet. It could be the end cap installation or a miter cut corner installation. Starting with the end cap installation, this is a small sample piece that will represent the larger 59-inch piece or 118-inch piece that you would find in the field. All of these are going to have a male and female side. And what we mean by that is, you can see on this side, I do not have anything. This will be where the seam plate goes. But on this side, all of these come pre-installed with the seam plate on the other side. When you do come to a determination point, you will be expected to use an end cap. The goal of the end cap is to prevent any light leak out of the side so that if you do have it up against a fascia or just an open-ended piece on the edge of your building, you don't have a whole bunch of light just shooting out the side and it stays directionally going down in the application. These are very simple and easy to use. They're just sheet metal and folded in a certain way. Couple tricks that we can tell you when you get them out, because they are going to be a thinner material. They do bend, but that also means you can manipulate them. And one thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that this top piece is as flush as possible with this, so you get a nice right angle. And then on top here, you can see this little slit. We're going to recommend that what you do is right at that bend it down a little bit. And the reason for that is when you go to install it on here, you want that right angle. You want it to be flush on the very front of the IllumiWrap itself, and having that bend in there helps push down and create tension. So once you put this, your self-tapper screw right in here, the gasket screw that you can get available at any hardware store, it's going to help retain that tension and keep that light leak as minimal as possible. And if everything is done correctly, there will be no light leak. Next, we're going to go over how to utilize the seam plate. As mentioned before, all of your 59-inch pieces and 118-inch pieces will have a male and female end that you can refer to. One side will have a clear slot where you can insert the seam plate, and the other side will come preloaded with it already siliconed and pre-glued in. When you're using the straight runs, this is as simple as sliding these together and using the JB Weld silicone adhesive to slide on top of the seam plate as you slide it into the receiving end. You could apply your glue, both in and out on all the channels, and then from there, it's a matter of lining up the seam plate on the top portion. That would be from this stance when you're mounting on top of the building, facing down. And then you also have the front seam plate, again, all centered around creating as minimal to no light loss as possible. Line them up, slide them in, and once you do, and the adhesive is allowed to set, you'll have one seamless piece with no light leak that you can continue down your run. Now, when using the seam plates on addressing a corner kit, you will notice that unlike on the straight runs, there aren't going to be any seam plates included already. And that's because the way the installation should go is you'll go straight runs and then go around in a clockwise or counterclockwise motion. Whichever way is completely up to you and how you install it, but we would ask that you keep consistency from start to finish to avoid any situations where you could run into a piece of IllumiWrap that has two seam plates next to each other instead of a male and female on each end. Because of that, we designed the corner kits to be in a situation where they can be customized so that no matter what corner you're in, you have a empty space and a freestanding seam plate. From there, it'll be the same thing as before. Once you realize which side the seam plate needs to be on your corner, even if it's both sides, you'll take your glue, apply a healthy dose to both sides as well as the track itself, and then position it in and slide in. You're gonna go about 50% of the way in, let it hold there, and once it's nice and tight and is secure, you will continue on with the installation as you normally would. Now, when using corners, as I mentioned, these are going to be near the end of your installation process after your full straight runs are completed, or at least as you get to a corner before turning around that corner. These are pre-miter cut. These will only work at a 90-degree angle. Please understand that this will not work for an inside corner. This will be an outside corner only at a 90-degree bend. You may have a little bit of few degrees. Obviously, construction isn't perfect and you may be a little in or outside of that, but as long as it's close to 90 degrees, this should work. Similarly to before, we do have a seam plate, but as you'll notice, this one is customized to go at a right angle. The idea is that you would have your straight run done. Let's say it's coming from this direction. You would then connect using the seam plate method we showed previously, connecting this one in place, installing it and securing it on the corner of the building. And then once that is completed, you use this piece to slide into that same slot and go on with your installation. Once that piece is installed and where it needs to be, you can come in with your second piece, line it up on the same end, until you get your corner completed. Once that is done, the last piece, as always, to avoid light leak, is to use the seam plate that will go over there, and that will prevent any front-facing light leak and keeping it all going downwards. So, hold on, let me separate this real quick. One last note, when you're installing these on the wiring, there is one 20-foot whip, as with all of the other ones. However, it does not come on both ends, so when you do have it installed, you will need to use the male-female connectors to connect, and then you will be good to take this back to your power supply as you normally would.
Also, please look at the landing page for the IllumiWrap itself. There you will find all the necessary documents, such as the survey form, the actual spec sheet itself, which in the spec sheet, it does specify the ordering process as well.
Thank you for joining us today as we take you through our new IllumiWrap product. If you have any more questions or concerns, please go to our website at principalsloan.com.